How's it going? Rigaroga here. On this fine morning, I think, we're gonna finish this hunt for the Thessal Hydra today. Or, well, at least we'll find them, the Thessal Hydra. Um, hope you're doing great. I've been spending time thinking about what to do after this. I may go on to some other one shot, or I may go on to a longer campaign in a different setting, or I've been thinking about how I might keep going with Stranger Things. I'm up in the air. I don't know. If anybody watching this and has an opinion on if they want to see more Stranger Things, although it wouldn't be Stranger Things, it'd be kind of vaguely themed Stranger Things. Um, it'd be, have to do with. I would do stuff in the Shadowfell, but call it the Upside Down. You know what I mean? Ranga's up there. um, yeah, but for now, what we've got is we've got the party has stepped into the travel through the Upside Down, um, and met with. Hey, Ranga, cut it out. Chill. Jeez. She's actually not doing anything that bad. She's just walking around on stuff that's unstable, because everything in my place is messed up. Because I have contractors coming in and out, doing repairs and electrical work and structural stuff and all kinds of stuff. And it's been almost a month now that we've been doing this, and I don't see when it's gonna stop. Everything's in the middle. Anyhow, enough of me complaining. Um, yeah, where was I? Yeah, so anyhow, I've been really frazzled, but this has been a nice escape for a few hours to be able to do this. Play some D&D, even if it's by myself. Um, but the party has traveled through the Upside Down. They actually tracked down the Demogorgon, killed it, actually quicker. I, yeah, it was already dead, and they kept hitting it, I guess. Anyhow, I don't know. But they collected some of the blood from the Demogorgon, and then they traveled. They met the Lost Princess, who is probably Nancy's character, Nancy's elf character, that we didn't really meet in the show, but we heard about. Ranga, stop that. It's unstable. Don't walk on it. Goofy. Oh man, you're gonna make a mess. Are you gonna knock down the blocks? God. Right there, right there, right there, right there, right there, and now over there. Anyhow, Ranga, what are you doing? Hi. Do you want to come over here? Over here. Come on. Up. Ranga. Hi. This is the kitty that was crawling around. This is Ranga. Oh, no. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I was just showing you off. Right? Kitty. Yeah, so Nancy's character. And the thing I realized is that probably Hopper is the Lost Knight, right? So in future, if I keep playing, the Lost Knight will be Hopper, and the Lost Princess will be introduced as Nancy. And then I was actually looking at they didn't include Max, the Zoomer character. It would have been a special archetype of a rogue probably, but I'll probably add in Max as the Zoomer, as a sort of Zoomer sub archetype of the rogue, if I keep going. But we'll see. It'll be after this adventure if I add them. But they managed to go through the Upside Down to the entrance of the Thessalhydra's lair, where there's the strange flowers on the walls of the cave from the show, and they poured the Thessalhydra's monstrous blood on. I mean, excuse me, the Demogorgon's monstrous blood on the flowers, and that opened up a portal back from the Upside Down to the prime material, the normal world, and they stepped through, and that's where we left off. So we're going to continue on, and I have the rule books out, but I'm actually using D&D Beyond on screen in a browser window. So I'm gonna have those handy because I'm gonna reference them probably. Sometimes it's easier. And I got my little cards from Arcane Library for all the characters, and then I got monsters as well to help me out. And let's see, let's try and get our. We were yellow. Ranger was in back. I think it was. Right? So, yellow, purple, blue, red, green. Oh, and I added the names. So and it's a little confusing because in the first season you only meet a few characters, but then in the second season that's when they add all the characters. So the yellow character is the paladin, and that's Mike, played by Mike later on. Dustin plays the bard, and that's purple. 11 is the mage, or wizard, and that's blue. Will plays the cleric, which is red, and then Lucas plays the ranger, which is green here. And if I add Max, she'll be the orange color, and I don't know where she'll go in the lineup. But so we got that going. So we're gonna go ahead, and so we've stepped into. So we've stepped into here. Here's what we know right now about this area. And this is the strange flowers. Murder, I probably should have drawn this ahead of time. Boom, 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 drawing little curls to represent flowers. 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 Okay, and then we got the cave. Now, I think if I remember correctly, the bard, our bard is the one with stealth. So we're probably gonna have them scout ahead. But so that's basically what we got. So we've got the flowers that we used to open up that portal, and then we've got everybody aligned, sort of coming through the portal. I'm imagining the portal sort of opened up here, so they're going to step through. Let's actually go ahead and draw this much of the cavern, as much as they'll see. As they step through the portal. And so that's where we'll start. So the characters, the player characters, the characters that the players play, uh, they step out of the portal opened up by the oversized flower, basically the same one that they stepped into to get into the upside down, and they're back in the prime material plane. The paladin's sword no longer feels like it's at home. I mean, it's still obviously magical, but it's not special. And actually, when they, I think, from the entrance of the cave, they can actually see the sort of horizon. Maybe it's sort of dusk, getting to be nighttime, and so the horizon is lit up, and way off, not super far away, but I guess pretty close. But as the crow flies, anyway, is Sir Tristan's castle, which is where they started off from, and so they can see the towers above the tree line, um, and once they pass over, they saw tracks and stuff on the upside down, but they definitely now see tracks all over. The portal closes, and they look back and see that there are really very few tracks that are left outside of this area. So it's pretty clear that the Thessal Hydra is trying not to leave tracks outside of its lair. But there's tons of tracks and crusty dry blood stains all around the flowers where it's been using that to get into the upside down. And it's wait, what? Oh, well, it shows on. Oh, okay. These are actually not small. These are actually really big flowers. Okay, my bad. It's on the map as being really big flowers, and I'm just a doof. Um, yeah. Anyhow, I guess it doesn't matter. It's not a bunch of little flowers. It's a grouping of giant flowers. So we'll go ahead and draw that. Um, and and it's weird because actually the adventure as it's written, what it says is that prints in the dirt make it clear that the Thessal Hydra has come this way often, and the tracks lead into a nearby cave. Okay, but the flowers are right at the cave, so the portal that they opened with the blood is at the cave. So that doesn't make sense. Anyhow, so we're in the entrance to the cave. Now that I've messed up everything, and there's clearly the cross planner flowers growing here, and we're making a mental note, even if I don't remember uh, this time, but that they're going to try and get some samples of those flowers to take back to Tristan. Um, you know, do some experiments, maybe create like a Stargate room or something like that, and put them in there. Um, and we'll see what happens. But um, but they're gonna sort of step in and take a look, and we're gonna see as they step in. Let's go a little bit farther. And we see this widens out a little bit. So let's see. We're gonna do paladin, cleric. I'm pretty sure it's the bard. Bard, it has stealth 4, and I think that's the best. X 2 plus 2. Yeah, okay, so that's already added. I'm sorry, I was stalled out there because I was trying to just get my head around whether they added the proficiency bonus here already or not, and it looks like they did. But why is investigation plus... six? Why is investigation plus 6? Because intelligence is plus 2, proficiency bonus plus 2. That's weird. I'm not entirely sure what is up with that. Yeah, it seems like that's off. Anyhow, I don't know. That's weird. Anyhow, so we're gonna try to do stealth. Sorry, I'm going down a rabbit hole. I'll figure that out later. We'll just play it as we go. Bard is going to sort of step out and do that stealth sort of mission thing, the Mission Impossible. We're gonna line up here. Let's roll for stealth and just sort of see what we get. Oh my god, critical fail. Okay, so I think he thinks, oh my gosh, that's great. And I think I think he steps forward and he sort of stumbles and falls a little bit and catches himself, and everybody else is like, oh my god, and they all hear him fall, and from the dark distance, he says, I'm all right, or something like that. But so he's not stealthy at all. So let's keep that in mind. But he's gonna look over here, and I think he's gonna see this cave, and it's filled, I think, with all sorts of webbing. So we'll draw in some webbing here. So he's going to see tons of webbing as he enters there. Let's do, his passive perception is 12. Let's do a perception roll. 16 plus 2, so 18. That's almost heroic level of perception. I think when he steps there, the spiders, there are some spiders, giant spiders that are in these webbing, and I think he sees them, and they see him, and they both freeze, and they're both like, okay, now what? I see you, you see me, and I think maybe he sort of backs out, just sort of backs out. There's like, I think 3 of them. One thing, just as a side note, that's interesting, is that in D&D Beyond, it just says 3 giant spiders live here, and it's not linked to the monster, but it's underlined in the book, giant spiders. So it is actually a monster stat that should be linked on D&D Beyond, but they didn't. So they don't follow. They're not in it for a fight. Those spiders. But so Dustin is like, oh, 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 and I think he backs up and goes to this corner over here. Um, and looks here. And he's got. Does he have? Dark vision. Yeah, so he's got 60 feet, so he can see pretty well here. Um, well, I overdid that. Oh well. Anyhow, I was gonna do a neat texture and then I screwed it up. Anyhow, so there's this big pit right here that he comes to. Um, I think he estimates that it's like 20 feet wide. I think. I mean, his passive perception is enough that I think as he gets right here, he's actually just going to notice that there's a some sort of secret door there. Like he goes here and he sees, like around the edges, there's like a little bit of airflow around that area. So he looks at this 20-foot chasm and then notices that there's this secret door. Um, and at this point, I think passive perception. He's one. I just rolled a fail again. So he's not going to notice anything else about that. Um, at this point. So what he's going to do then is he would go back and just, hey, okay, so there's spiders over to the left, over to the right. There's a pit. It's 20 feet wide. Looks super deep. Um, so we might be able to jump over it, but there's also a secret door along the wall. But it looks like, I mean, we could advance to that spot and then talk about what's going on and talk about what to do. So let's go take a look. And I think so. Everybody then sort of steps forward, and I think that these guys, the ranger will stick back at this corner just to make sure that the spider doesn't, sort of come up behind any of those spiders, sort of attack from that side. Um, so what would they do? I know they've got rope, but there is that secret door. Who had... So my ranger has primeval awareness. You can use your action and expend one ranger spell slot to focus your awareness on the region around you. For 1 minute per level of the spell slot you expend, you can sense whether the following type of creatures are present within 1 mile of you, or up to 6 miles if you are in a forest. aberrations, celestials, dragons, elementals, fae, fiends, and undead. This doesn't reveal... That's not useful, because that's not monstrosities. Well, okay, whatever. Favored enemies, though. You have significant experience studying, tracking, and hunting monstrosities. You had advantage on survival checks to track monstrosities. Oh, yeah, we had advantage on that. As well as intelligence checks to recall information about them. So I had not been doing that very well. So yeah, it would be a lot easier with fewer characters to be able to do this. If I do further adventures in some other campaign or something like that, I'm probably gonna have one main character and then sidekicks, or instead of, because tracking all of the special abilities is just it's a little too much. But it's still fun. This is, it's fun to do the Stranger Things adventure. So let's see. We've got passive perception 12, 14. I don't get to 15, do I? 12, 11. So let's see. We're going to do investigation plus 5, plus 6. Perception plus 4. Perception plus 4. So we're going to do an investigation. We're going to do perception, just to look around at plus 4, and somebody's going to help. So that's not quite enough. So let's do investigation with a plus 6 and see what we get. Oh, that's 12. That's not really enough. Let's do the Bard's nature check with tracking. No, that's the... Was that the ranger? That was the ranger. That was the ranger. So, favorite enemy, advantage on survival. Survival plus 3. So let's try that. Wow, 19 and a 19. So 2 19s. Not a critical success, but with the plus... for that, that's over 20, so that's a heroic level. The ranger, out of all of, everybody's looking around to sort of see, like, if they can, they're looking down the pit, they're looking at the secret door, trying to figure out, who went where and what's going where. Well, the ranger steps up, and, these monstrosities, I can tell, that from the tracks and stuff, that what it's done is it's parkoured across that. So the Thessal Hydra is going across that pit to the other side. So if we want to go to the Thessal Hydra, it's over there. It goes that way, back and forth, because you can see where it's landed on either side and leapt over the cavern, the chasm, in order to go either way. So the secret door does not lead to the Thessal Hydra. So the question is, do they want to do... I mean, the paladin, and I think the ranger and the paladin and the bard are all... Let's go over. We've got rope. Let's do this. I mean, we're fully rested. We didn't even get wounded much. We healed up. After the Demogorgon. Did we really? I can't remember how much damage we took. I don't think it was a lot because it went quick. But we would have done some heals. And done some laying on of hands maybe or something. Anyhow, I forgot to keep track of that from the last session. And I think I actually tossed out my note card that I was tracking stuff on. But anyhow, so I think there's 3 of the party are hep to go immediately across and skip the secret door for now. I think maybe what they do is they roll some rocks against the secret door to try and block it. So let's do an athletics check, +5, and we'll do advantage. So we've got +5 and +5. So let's do that with advantage and just sort of see what DC we're going to end up with. Well, that's not great. That's not great. So it's basically it's a 14, a 14 DC to block that door. So we'll try and remember that's. We'll do pile up some rocks. DC 14. Wow, and I'm writing numbers and letters in the wrong order at this point. So they're going to do that just to sort of make sure that maybe there's nothing really sneaks up on them while they're there. And I think they're going to leap over. Let me just read this up really quick. So they're gonna tie ropes to themselves, and I think one of them is gonna do. We're gonna do some athletics. So we're gonna do that DC +5, and then I'm gonna do it with advantage because I think one of the strong characters is gonna try and leap over, and then and they're gonna do like a slingshotty thing. So they're gonna tie a rope around the waist, and then one of them is gonna run, and then the other one is gonna sort of like. Like a gymnastics move where they're gonna run, and then the other one is gonna push off and push them up, and so they're holding one end of the rope here, and then pushing off the other guy across the other side. So that's gonna be the paladin. The paladin is gonna throw, and then the ranger is gonna make the leap. So, ranger with advantage for help, +5. Wow, that sucked. Oops. I think that was a 6. So, with +5, that's only a 13. Wow, they actually managed to do that. Wow. It was a DC 12. So they managed to do that by like 1 point. So, I mean it's dangerous. Maybe the paladin sort of half slips, but the ranger like gets right on the edge, and sort of teeters on the edge, but manages to, because the weight of the rope is a little bit more than they're used to, carrying when they do leaps, and manages to get to the other side. And so they're gonna, they're gonna pull that tight. And so I think everyone is gonna get advantage on going over. So let's see. So we're gonna do the God, I can't even remember. So that's the bard. Okay, so let's do the bard. Bard, athletics 0. So we're gonna tie one other rope to each of them as we do that. You know what I'm thinking is actually if we go slower, what they'll do is they'll tie a rope, and then when they jump, the ranger will like sort of reel them in, um, and then toss the rope back. I think honestly I think they're being careful enough that I mean even if they were to fall, um, the ranger would catch them. Um, yeah, so let's have it's really that's the ranger that's doing the heavy lifting as far as that goes. So let's go ahead and let's have the ranger roll with advantage, because the paladin will help by tossing the other character over. So that's 17 plus 5 is heroic. That's a critical success. So we get those two over. Then we'll do this. 15 plus 5 is 20, so that's plenty. And then so the rope goes back over one more time. And so these two characters are gonna so the paladin's gonna make a running leap, and then the orc is, the ranger is gonna, give it a swift pull. So let's go ahead and do that with it. So that's a natural 20, with advantage, and a plus 5. So that's mostly a heroic effort to get over there, that they've managed to put in. And then I think what they do is they look over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so they don't actually see all the way. Maybe that far into the pit, into that area. Now, let's do a party-based stealth check at this point. So we've got, our first 3. So that's an 18 plus 0. That's pretty good. We got a natural 20 from the cleric, which is excellent. We got a 14 plus 2 is 16 from the ranger. And then we've got 2 more. 17 is super successful. And then our wizard rolls a natural 1 and like manages to make some noise. But I think overall, like, stumbles on a rock or something like that. But with the natural 20s and stuff, I think the other characters, as a party, manage to be stealthy enough. Like, they play hacky sack with the wizard actually. So L actually trips on one of the rocks and it goes flying, and one of the other characters manages to like catch it before it hits the wall. And stuff like that. So I think that they managed to be stealthy at this point, which is actually going to be super helpful. So let me really quickly. I just want to look up because I haven't really done this yet. Chapter 2. Surprise. DM determines who might be surprised. If neither side tries to be stealthy, they automatically notice each other. Otherwise, the DM compares the dexterity check of the hiding to the passive wisdom of the other. Any character or monster that doesn't notice a threat is surprised at the start of the encounter. If you're surprised, you can't move or take an action on your first turn of the combat. And you can't take a reaction until the end of the turn. Members of a group can be surprised even if the other members aren't. Okay, so I think we're gonna, because of those stealth rolls, we're gonna actually roll surprise. We're gonna rule for surprise, and what that's gonna mean is that we're gonna get a free action at the beginning of this combat round. So let's go ahead and actually roll initiative at this point for the party and for the monster. So, well, let me set this up. Let me set this up. We're not going to roll the monster yet. So in this sort of gloomy distance of this cavern, just at the edge of every those characters who have dark vision, at the edge of their light is sort of this behemoth creature. It at first it kind of looks like a continuation of the wall, but then it the shadow doesn't recede. It kind of then is bulbous and bulbs out, and in there you can see sort of tucked up and curled up, almost in a cute way, a cute lizardy kind of way. There are some like a couple of heads that are tucked together, kind of keeping each other warm and nuzzling each other. And then there's a tail with a huge pincer that kind of is doing like a dream flap. Like how a kitty does when it's asleep. It kind of it's hunting in its sleep and and sort of scrabbling around. And so I think it's obvious that this is the Thessal Hydra. I mean, it's a huge creature. So I mean, it takes up a giant space. So let's go ahead and we're going to add the Thessal Hydra now. And so they're all like the first character, I don't know which one, is like turns around and like and then the next one, and then looks and goes and then all up to 4, and then the camera sort of shows the last character, probably L, the wizard, the last one to leap, sort of comes over and like looks at everybody. What are you all looking at? And then looks over and then sees it, and it's So I think they're gonna do their regular initiative order, their regular marching order. We'll do this way. Magic user will hang out back. Cleric will hang out back. Ranger, yeah, we're gonna do it that way. So we're gonna get the bard and the paladin sneaking up on it. Undead or fiend, yeah, so that doesn't do extra. But the Winter's Dark Bite is actually a +3 versus Thessal Hydra, so that's pretty awesome. So what happens is, I think the first character to go yeah, okay, let's just roll initiative. So the red is the Thessal Hydra. Thessal Hydra is going to go at 8. Mike is going to go at 19. Dustin is going to go at 3. Uh, 11 goes at 2. Oh, and I did actually roll for the Wand of Magic Missiles that I fully discharged, and it did not break. But I don't think another dawn has gone by, so it didn't break, but we're not going to be able to use that this time around. So what did I do? So that was a 2, and Will goes at 10, and Lucas goes at a 15. Okay, so that's my initiative order. Okay, so Mike is gonna attack. Is gonna sort of trying to decide what weapon to use. Looks down at this Winter's Dark Bite and sees that it's like raring to go. It wants to attack this thing. So I mean he can feel it. So he's gonna grab that and attack with that. Let's go ahead and roll for attack. Um, if the Thessal Hydra is sleeping, is it prone? It's not unconscious. Prone. A prone creature's only movement option is to crawl unless it stands disadvantaged on attack rolls. Attack rolls against the creature have advantage if the attacker is within 5 feet of the creature. Otherwise, the attack roll has disadvantage. I mean, it doesn't have the condition prone, but it is like it's sleeping, right? I don't know. I mean, you know, if a character is unconscious, then it's like an automatic crit, right? Um, or something like that. Um, I, I don't know if this is cheating or not, but I'm gonna give these two characters that are within 5 feet of the Thessal Hydra. I'm gonna give them advantage on their first attack because the creature is sleeping. So let's go ahead. We're gonna roll. We're gonna roll Mike's attack, and that is a natural 20. Wow, that's pretty hot. So I should have rolled. It's actually 23 because it's +3. So we're gonna roll 2d6 slashing. Plus we're gonna roll 3. No, 2d8. For Divine Smite. So that's 7. So that's 14. Plus another 7 is 21. So that's 21 damage. So 21. Anything else? Is the Thessal Hydra evil? Blinded, charmed, deaf, stunned. Okay, so none of those. That's fine. Unaligned. Okay, yeah. So that wouldn't make any difference, but I think maybe the ranger would have said something about that. I think that's it. I think that's all we can do. Yeah, okay. So a paladin's done. That was pretty good. Um, Lucas is up next, so we got our ranger going. Ranger is going to um, from a distance. Colossus Slayer. Your tenacity can wear down the most potent foes. When you hit a creature with a weapon attack, the creature takes an extra 1d8 damage if it is below its hit point maximum. Once per turn. And it's not melee, it's any attack. So we're gonna actually use that this turn to try and get some extra damage like up front. We're gonna attack with the longbow. Let me take a look at Hunter's Mark really quickly again to remind myself. If that's a bonus action. It is a bonus action. Choose a creature you can see. Mark it. Until the spell ends, deal one extra 1d6 to the target whenever you hit it with a weapon attack. And you have advantage to find it. Okay, so we're gonna mark it. The Thessal Hydra. We're gonna cast that. It's concentration. So we're gonna get an extra 1d6, and then because of Colossus Slayer, we're gonna get an extra 1d8 damage. And it's the longbow, so it's 1d8 plus 3. No, plus 2. Piercing. And then we're going to roll to attack it. Okay. So we got to remember that 1d6. And it's any time he attacks it, right? Until the spell ends, and it's 1 hour. So he's going to get an extra... The ranger is going to get an extra 1d6. Here, let me... I'm going to actually put a 1d6 next to the ranger, just to try and remember that. So let's roll and see if we hit with the longbow. That's a 15 plus a 6 is pretty good. Yeah, AC is only 14, so that's totally a hit. Not the greatest damage roll. So that's 14. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Thessal Hydra is surprised. And now we're going to will. So the cleric is next. Let me remind myself about spiritual weapon really quickly. Or spiritual weapon? Okay, I don't have Spirit Guardians yet, but we do have Spiritual Weapon. It's a bonus action to cast, so we're going to cast that. What am I going to use for that? Well, I guess we'll use the orange as the spiritual weapon for now. Where's the dark blue? Huh. Hold on. I actually have... Did I get that in the wrong? Oh, I seem to be missing the dark blue one. Okay, I don't know what to do about that. Maybe it's in the other set or something. I don't know. Okay, so yeah, I don't have a thing for that spiritual weapon. Here, let's use a D4. Let's use an extra D4 for the spiritual weapon. So we're gonna cast spiritual weapon, 60 feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, yeah, there's plenty of distance. Spectral weapon, within 5 feet. On a hit, target takes force damage equal to 1d8 plus the spellcasting modifier. Bonus action, you can move at 20. So 1d8 plus plus 4. So 1d8 plus 4. So 1d8. So let's go ahead and do that attack. And it's within 5 feet, so it gets advantage because the thing is still prone. Wow, with only a 7. That's not enough. It's not enough. So the spiritual weapon whiffs. And then the cleric is going to use oh, it's plus 4 to attack. Plus 4 on 7. No, that's still not enough. That's still not enough. Oh, it's the ability modifier, not the thing. Okay. Yeah, okay, that's weird. So Will is then going to use the light crossbow from a distance. So that's going to be a D20 and a 1d8 plus 3. So it's plus 5 on the D20. And that's 15. That is just enough to hit. So we're going to do 5 more damage. So that's 40. And now Dustin is up. And so Dustin is going to Vicious Mockery, I think, is an action. Yeah, that's an action. It's only 1d4. I'm not gonna do that. We're gonna use. Oh, I mean, well, he's right there. Right, he's gonna do a melee attack. He's gonna attack with the rapier with advantage, and that's gonna be a 1d8 plus 2. So it's plus 4 to hit. Plus 12 plus 4. Luckily, it was not a 1. That is just enough to hit. And so it's going to be 2 plus 2 is 4. And at this point, the Thessal Hydra is like being hit and hurt. And now what what do we have? Do we want to use Ray of Frost? Shocking Grasp is touch, so we don't want to do that. Ray of Frost, 60 feet. Frigid Beam. 1d8 cold damage. And its speed is reduced by 10 feet. Or 3 1d4 plus 1 force damages. 4 darts. Let's do Magic Missile. So four darts, 1d4, and well, let me see. What is Sphere of... Wait, what is it? Flaming Sphere. So, starts with an F. Flaming Sphere. Any creature that 5 foot appears in an unoccupied space of your choice within range and lasts for the duration. Creature that ends its turn within 5 feet. Yeah, let's not do that. So we're going to do 4d4. Um, 4d4 plus 1. We're going to get our old school d4s out here. So 4d4 plus 1, plus 4 total. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 12 total. Oh man, so close. Ay, ay, ay. What are my legendary actions? Luckily, it's not a heal. I think that's it for the wizard. And now we're back up at the top of the order. We might manage, just barely. We might make it. We might kill this thing before it gets an attack off. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. This. Okay, so we're gonna. Wizard is gonna go. Wizard went. So we're gonna do the paladin. The paladin's gonna attack with 2d6, and then Divine Smite 2d8. No advantage anymore. Oh wait, it hasn't had a turn, so it hasn't actually gotten up. Oh, I kind of regret giving advantage on that. I'm gonna take the advantage away, because it's not the surprise round; it's the regular round. Just because. So we're gonna attack with a +3. Oh my god, a critical fail. Oh, that's a fumble. Okay, well, that was absolutely crap. That was unfortunate. Totally whiffs it. I think Mike like stumbles back, um, uh, just because it's so big. Like, he attacks it the first time and gets a great hit, and then pulls the sword out and like stumbles back because of the getting the sword unstuck or whatever. Um, and I think that's the last divine smite. When you hit a creature, okay, so he doesn't actually have to expend that until he hits. So we still have one divine smite left. So the ranger is going to attack with longbow, favored enemy, and Colossus Slayer. So we've got the 1d. That's not a 1d6, it's a 1d8. Right? It's an extra 1d8. Here, hold on. We're going to swap that out. That's an extra 1d8 for his whatever. For his Colossus Slayer. Okay, so we're going to do an attack, and it's going to be the longbow, so it's going to be 1d8 plus 1d8 for the Colossus Slayer, and plus 2 piercing. So it's plus 6 to hit. So let's roll that and see what we get. That is a 14 plus 6. That's 20. A dirty 20. And that's going to be 10 more damage. Oh, so close. We're at 66 hit points. Oh, wait. Wait. Hunter's Mark. That's what that was. That's what that was. So it's an extra 1d6. Let's roll that 1d6. Whoa. And it's a 6. Look at that. So that is actually 72 hit points. And that is enough to kill the Thessal Hydra. On the regular round. So we just... the character in turn order right before the Thessal Hydra gets the killing blow. Wow, that was cool. This party's a little overpowered, or this Thessal Hydra is underpowered. Man, when it goes, it's crazy. It's got a multi attack, so it does a bite and a maw attack. And it's got a legendary tail swipe attack that can grapple. So that surprise round did it. That's what did it. We could have been a lot worse for wear. Wow. So we've got our bags of holding. I'm already moving on. Let's take a moment to just be excited. That we got the Thessal Hydra. The Thessal Hydra has been hit. It had 69 hit points, and we got it down to minus 72. Whew! So the party is going to grab the heads, saw the heads off, put them in the bags of holding. And of course, you and I both know that Thessal Hydras have 8 heads. But they only get 7. Where did the other one go? I don't know. Let's do... my ranger is going to do a wisdom survival check, or an intelligence check to recall information about a monstrosity. So we're going to do an intelligence, intelligence nature. So we're going to do advantage on an intelligence nature check. And this is to see if the ranger, with the favored enemy of monstrosities, can recall how many heads the Hydra has. And nature is +0, so we're doing straight advantage. Wow, with advantage we got a natural 20. So the ranger totally, is doing the count and says, uh, point of order, hydras have 8 heads, and we only got 7. And they look around, um, and are there 8 necks? So there are 8 necks. There are 8 necks, but they only have 7 heads. So, I mean, where did it go? Um, let's do an investigation. No, we're gonna do advantage on a survival check to track the monstrosity. So we're gonna do, the ranger is now gonna do a survival check. So survival is +3 with advantage. We're gonna see if we can see any advantage, or track this head. So that was a 13, and then that is a 16, plus a 3 is 19. That's pretty darn heroic. I think the ranger sees, like, there's a hole in the wall or something like that, and there's a path that a head, has crawled out of. So somehow one of the Hydra, Thessal Hydra heads has crawled away, and into a little, into a passageway that I think is too small for them. It can't be too small for them, right? It can't be, because the head is huge. I think it's super tight. But I mean, we've got a, let's see, we've got a half orc, a wood elf, a half elf, a hill dwarf. Well, I think the dwarf could. I think it's managed to squeeze through, and it's too, the spelunking of this, thing is just a little too tight, even for the dwarf. I mean, the dwarf is saying, like, I could hollow it out. I could dig it out, to make it, wider so that we could follow it. But I think, I mean, we've killed the Thessal Hydra. We've grabbed 7 of the heads. They sort of kibitz together, um, and but we know there's another head out there. But I don't see how we can. By the time I dig that out, it's going to be long gone. Um, and we could always track it. We could always continue to track it. I think overall it seems like this is a thing that we can't do today. Um, oh man, this is tough. This is tough for me, because this isn't part of the adventure. I think as the GM DM, I'm gonna rule that they try, and they lose track. Um, they lose track of the head. The ranger, as an outlander with favored enemy of the monstrosity, realistically, I think that character probably could have tracked, but it's the dwarf that has to go in, and the dwarf can't track, in that hole. And so I think the dwarf, just sort of fails to, like, it branches out into some extra caves, and the dwarf can't figure it out, um, and comes back, and it's like, we'll track it some other day. I think the ranger is super frustrated because that's his favorite enemy. But I think it's gonna the ranger is gonna say, okay, but we need to collect as much of this Thessal Hydra blood as we can. So let's use all of the old healing potion um, vessels and things, and they're gonna collect a bunch of the blood because it's gonna work on those flowers. So they want some of the blood in order to activate the flowers. Um, I feel like, oh man, I don't know. I'm struggling over that. I'm struggling over that. Maybe I shouldn't have done the extra head. Maybe I shouldn't have had them notice it. But uh, I mean, he rolled he rolled super well enough to notice. So, do we split the party? Okay. This is what actually happens. The tunnel is this way, and it goes off this way, um, um, and it meets back up with the main area. It sort of is like a lava tube or whatever, and so the ranger, tracks through this tunnel, and finds out that that head made it all the way to these flowers, and using its own blood, it's passed into the upside down. Once it goes into the upside down, the ranger is um, uh, decides to go back and tells the other characters, the other characters, what happened, and it's at that point that it's enough of a conceptual distance that the ranger is like, no, we're going to track it some other day, but we're going to collect the monster blood. We're going to collect that blood so that we can go into the upside down and get that head. But we've got to take these heads back to Tristan and all that sort of stuff. So that's actually how I think that works out, and that makes sense to me as a player. That the conceptual distance of having that head go into the upside down um, is enough. That's enough of a conceptual distance. So I feel okay about that now. That's how we'll resolve that. And so the Thessal Hydra head, who knows? It'll show up some other day. Um, so let's go ahead and actually let's take a look at what we have here, as far as um, our party is going to continue on um, in marching order. After collecting a bunch of the monster blood, they're going to come to this area. I think, and what they see here are a bunch of um, sort of bowls um, and just sort of things laid out. There's a bunch of offerings and things like that, that have been left here. Maybe the Thessal Hydra collected them or put them there, but um, I think let's do a perception plus four with advantage because somebody's gonna help. So we're gonna do a perception +4, 10 +4. That's not quite enough. I mean, it's enough to notice. These are, they're crafted items, So probably not Thessal Hydra, but it's enough to know that it's probably some humanoid made them. So they're going to continue. Actually, we're going to send the Bard off. Let's do a stealth roll for the Bard. Uh, that is a 6, so that's a human level of stealth. Not great. So this continues on. And starts to go up a little bit. And let's see what we got here. So I think the Bard makes it here. And there's some sort of natural pool of water over in that corner. Let's see. There's like a wet muddy patch that kind of ripples and bubbles in that back corner. So I think he's gonna just sort of stay on that edge of it. And look around this corner. Human level stealth is enough to, it get if there's something in there, it probably noticed, but it's, if it was violent and ready to attack, it probably would have, but it's not. So we're gonna go ahead and go down here. And then so at this point, I think right around here, Dustin, is it Dustin, right? Yeah, Dustin is going to hear the sound, pretty familiar sounds of troglodytes. And at that point, I think he's going to turn around and head back and say, okay, I could hear troglodytes up ahead. So we're going to do we're going to cast the comprehend languages again. And then we're going to go forward. Yeah, watch out for that pool. It's bubbling and rippling. I don't know what's in there. Let's not let's not and say we didn't. So the paladin's going to back up the Bard. I think these guys are going to stay right here. And then the Bard is going to move in with their high charisma. I'm assuming that Dustin has high charisma, right? Well, it's only +2, but it's pretty good. So I think they're going to move forward and then look into this thing. In this cave, there's basically there's a tribe of 10 troglodytes that are living in here, and they look like they might be. It's hard to tell whether they're the same tribe as we saw previously, but it seems like maybe these are a group of troglodytes from the previous cave that had followed the Thessal Hydra, just sort of in awe, maybe branched off. So in the other troglodyte cave, some of them were like, no, the Thessal Hydra's awful, stay away from it. But some of them slowly started to wonder and feel sort of this sense of awe when seeing the Thessal Hydra, and so there was like sort of a religious schism between the in that previous troglodyte group, and these are the troglodytes that sort of ended up starting to slowly develop a culture of worship around the Thessal Hydra, seeing how huge and monstrous and massive it was. They they started to just sort of leave offerings that we saw in that other area, um, and and they were sacked out in this room. It's pretty obvious that the secret door goes into this area, so um, blocking off that entrance was probably a really good idea. Um, and I think once once the characters show up, the troglodytes are gonna freak out and do that sort of hold their spears or whatever it is that they have. What do they have? Bite and claws and stuff, but so they're gonna get all in attack formation and stuff and start saying yip yip, not in kobold but in troglodyte. Sleestack. They're gonna speak Sleestack, and we're gonna do a persuasion with +3. And I think that the paladin is going to help, and then we've got comprehend languages. So, and plus, they have sort of this expectation from the previous group of troglodytes that they. I think that's enough to give them advantage on this persuasion. They're going to persuade them not to be violent. Oh my God! Look at that. 2 natural ones. Okay. Well, there's no helping it. It's gonna be an attack. So we've got 10 troglodytes now. And oh, I forgot to get my. I need to grab an index card. For some reason, I didn't grab my little index card boxes. Hold on, I'll be right back. Well, I had hoped this would go another way. I really, when I was reading through this, I kind of really hoped that this would go a different direction, but they're going to be violent. And I think that they came from the direction of the Thessal Hydra. I think that I think they assume with that fail. I think they assume that that these characters have attacked their god, their Thessal Hydra. So we've got 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 troglodytes. And we are going to roll initiative. And they've got 13 hit points each. Okay, so let's roll initiative. Troglodytes, and then the first 2 characters. Troglodytes are 2. Wow, okay, that's awesome. And then 15 for Dustin, and 11 is at 12. And let's roll the rest of them. Mike is at 7. Lucas is at 1, and Will is at 9. So Dustin at 11, Will, Mike, Troglodyte, and Lucas is the last. And in the back, so that kind of works out. Okay, so let's go through this and see what happens. Okay, Dustin, the Bard. That works out perfectly, is right in front. What are they going to do? Well, we can't do mass suggestion. Well, I think that we're just going to leap up. Let's say there's like 3 groups or whatever. 2 groups. Is going to run up to that group and attack number 1. And so we're going to attack number 1 with the rapier. So that's going to be 1d8. Yeah, so we're attack with 1d8 plus 2 piercing. Okay, and it's plus 4 to attack. Okay, so 2 is not enough to hit. So we're just gonna move the bard back into the bottom of the order. Okay, so then we've got L. It's gonna move 30 feet. 1, 2, 3. That's 30 feet. That's enough to see that group, I think. So we're going to do... Wait, we have Thunderwave. We have Thunderwave. Hold on a second. Let me try and... Let me remind myself about Thunderwave. Because I think it spreads from the character. Wave of thunderous force sweeps out from you. Each creature in a 15-foot cube originating from you must make a Constitution saving throw. Okay, that is not a good idea to do now. So we'll do Magic Missile. We'll do Magic Missile at level 2. So we'll do 4d4. So let's see. That's okay. So that's 2, 3, 4, and 5 damage to the first 4 in that group. And that's gonna be it for L. Okay, and now we've got Paladin is up. So Will is gonna come charging up, I think, to the main group, and is going to attack number 1 with... Oh no, it's Will. Will is up. Will is up, not the Paladin. Hold on. Where's my cleric? It's not Will. I mean, it is Will. It's the cleric, Will. What is the cleric going to do? 35 feet. 1, 2, 3, 4. 35-ish. Is it 5 feet or 10 feet? It is 10 feet. So technically, they can only make it right to there. So they're not going to be able to attack. Now we're at Mike. So Mike is going to attack with a long sword with Winter's Dark Bite. So that's going to be 2d6 slashing. We're not going to use Divine Smite. We're just going to attack. And it's going to be... Oh, it's just a +1, so we've got +6 to hit. That is enough to hit, luckily, and that's 10 damage. So that wipes out number 1. Number 1 is kaput. And now the troglodytes attack. Oh god, this is going to be a disaster. Oh my. Oh my god, this is going to be awful. I mean, he's against the wall. So if we're against the wall, and he's right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are the most that they can do. And then, well, Mike ran up. Okay, so actually Mike ran up. So Mike is here. So 1, and then 6. And that's the most they can do. And then this group is going to head up here. And that's, I mean, that's a corridor, so it's going to be just 7, 8, and 9, and then 10 is going to be out here waiting to attack. Okay, so let's go ahead and do 7 is going to attack L. So that's going to be 3 attacks. Jiminy Christmas. It's a multi-attack. It's 2 claws and a bite. That is not enough. At 13 plus 4, so 9, 13, and no. So just 1 claw. Only 1 claw makes it. So that's awesome. So that's 4 damage to L. L is down 4. And then, so then we're going to attack 1 is going to attack. One claw is successful. So that is 4. So Mike minus 4. Six is going to attack Mike. That is a bite for 4. Minus 8. 2 is going to attack Mike. And that's a bite for 4. And then 3 is going to attack. This is going to be a little bit worse. It's going to be a little bit weird, a little bit worse. Ranger, Bard, 14. Oh man, I think the Bard is going to go down. 14. So that is a bite and a claw. Dustin Bard. and that is going to be -8. And then 4 is going to attack Dustin. That was a fail, success, so 1, so that's -12. And then 5 is going to attack Dustin. Oh, 1 is dead. 1 is dead, so 6 moves here, and then 10 moves here. So then that's fine. So that's 6 and 10. So we'll... the rolls that I made for those 2 spots are going to stick, but we're going to do them differently. So fail, success. So that is -16. And that is everybody. Okay, so the troglodytes have all attacked. Now Lucas the Ranger has a move of 30. 1, 2, 3. And can do nothing. And now we're back to the Bard. The Bard... I guess is just going to attack with the rapier. Is going to attack 3, the one right in front of it, right in front of him. So that's going to be 1d8 plus 2. Okay, so attack plus 4. Oh, as a critical fail. Oh man, come on. Okay, Lucas is out. Wait. No, that was the Ranger. Ranger moved. Dustin tried to attack and failed. 11. Thunderwave. 15-foot cube. Yeah, we're going to cast Thunderwave. So it's going to be... they're going to have to make a Constitution save. Troglodytes... it says... so for D&D Beyond, it's blocked. So Constitution save... holy crap, it's a +5. Wow, that sucks. So we've got the 7, 8, and 9. So we've got 3 Constitution saves. So 3 fails, 14 saves, and Constitution save against what? Your spell DC, right? I'm going to assume it's going to be the spell DC. Spellcasting DC 13. So that's a success and a fail. So 2 fails and a success. On a failed save, creature takes 2d8 and is pushed. Creature takes half as much. Okay, so 2d8. Is 7. No, 8. So 7 takes 8 damage. 8 takes 4 damage. 9 takes 8 damage. And then they're pushed farther out. So we're going to swap out. This is going to be... yeah, well, I mean, they get pushed 10 feet. 10 feet back down that corridor. I'm just going to... it's not going to be that big of a deal. Because they're going to be able to move. So that's actually a pretty good one for this corridor. I might be able to use that again. So Will the cleric can move 35 feet. Is going to get right behind L and is going to fire, and I think is going to kneel down and fire the crossbow. Oh no, we're going to cast a spiritual weapon again at the other end of this corridor. So we're going to attack with the spiritual weapon. +4 and a 1d8 +2. +4 is enough, and that's 5. +2 is 7. So which one am I getting at? I'm getting at 9. So 9 is dead. And then is going to shoot off the crossbow. 1d8, so +5 to hit. Is 10. That is not enough to hit. So the crossbow goes flying off. So that's Will done. And now we're back to Mike. So this is Mike Paladin, and then this is Dustin Bard. So let's see. So I think he's going to swing at number 2. So that's going to be and 2d6. 2d6 +1. Well, it's actually +6 total. +6 is enough. That's 11. That is enough to kill number 2. So number 2 is dead. And now the troglodytes are up again. Oy, oy, oy. There are less of them, though. That's good. Okay, so the troglodytes here are going to march back up to try and get to L. So 7 is going to attack L in that corridor. Fail, fail, fail. That's a complete fail. I think they're stumbling over each other because of the thunder wave. So that was 1, and a 2 or whatever. That was pretty bad. And so then 6 is going to attack Mike. That is it +4? +4. So that's 2 attacks are successful. So Mike takes another 8, so that's 20 total. Wow, he's down really bad. He should have done lay on hands or some such. So 10 is going to attack Mike. That is a fail all around. And then there's nobody else. I think 3 is going to attack Mike because they saw their companion go down. That is complete fail. And then 4 is going to attack Dustin. That is 3 successes, so that's 12. I think Dustin is now down. Yeah, Dustin is at 0. Yeah, so Dustin is at 0 now. Was that... Did I finish everybody? Did I do 4 and 5? Oh my god, I lost track. Yeah, 3 attacked and then that was 2 attacks there. Okay, so that's all of the troglodytes left. So Lucas the Ranger, I think is coming up here, trying to stay away from that pool. Can't really do anything. Do I want to rule that they could share the spot? And I think he can, because of the cleric is down kneeling, firing the crossbow, and I think that the longbow is going to fire from the top. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to rule that he can fire his longbow down that corridor because they're ranged weapons. So we're going to do an attack, and it's going to be... longbow, so +6, and it's a 1d8. +6 is enough to hit, and that's 5, 6, 7 against 7. 7 is dead. And then that's Lucas done. And he probably should have gotten that extra 1d8 as well. But, okay, so Dustin is down. So Dustin can't do anything. Now it's 11's turn. I think we're going to use... we're going to run up and we're going to do Shocking Grasp. 1d8 of lightning with an attack of +5. So +5. That is enough, but it only does 2 damage to 8. So 8 is now at 6. Now the cleric goes... and the cleric is going to do spiritual weapon on 8. So that's going to be a +4 to hit and a 1d8. That's a natural 20. So that's 2. It's only 1 hit point. So that's 4 total. So that takes this to 10. And troglodytes, I think, have 11? What have they got? No, 13, so a little bit more. And so now we're going to do the crossbow. It's a 1d8 +3, so +5 to hit. +5 to hit is definitely enough, and 3 + 3 is 6. That is enough to kill 8, so 8 is dead. So that's all of these guys. And now we're up to Mike again. So Mike is surrounded by 6 and 10. And 3 was attacking him as well. I think he's going to... Because 3 came over, we're gonna try to kill 3 to get this guy out of the way. So we're going to do 2d6. And it's going to be +6 to hit. +6 to hit. That is plenty to hit. And then we're going to do 5 damage. And that was to 3. That only takes him to 9. Not enough. And then I think lay on hands, a pool of power that replenishes. a total of 15 hit points. So what is Dustin? Where's Dustin again? So we're going to do all... Oh, wait, but Mike is at 20. Mike is going to lay hands on himself and give him 15, so that means he's only down 5. Sorry, Dustin. Oh, I suppose Dustin should have done a death check, a death save. So we're gonna do a Constitution save. Five, so that's one fail. So that's one fail. And now we're at the troglodytes. So troglodytes are going to... the only ones left. So 6 is going to attack... multi-attack Mike. That is going to be a fail, so a bite. So we're at 9 down. And then 10 is going to attack. That is 3 fails. And then 3 is going to attack Mike. That is, well, I don't know what that was, but that is 1 success, so that's 4, so that's 13. And then 4 is going to attack Dustin. I'm sorry. I'm going to rewind. I'm actually going to make mine minus 14. Mike was going to give 1 hit point to Dustin to bring him back, so he didn't have to, so he has no death saves. No failures. So he's unconscious. And if it's a it will be a critical hit if it's within 5 feet. Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, these are supposed to be advantage, but I'm going to do 1 hit. That's going to take him down to 0 again. And then the next one is going to attack, and that is going to be 1 success, and that is going to give him one death again. And then that is all of those guys. Then we're going to do Lucas the Ranger. Is going to be... Technically, I think Dustin would be toast. This would have been killed. But they probably actually would have leaped over and attacked Mike instead of attacking the dead creature. Anyhow, so next turn they're going to all attack Mike because Dustin is down. But so Ranger is going to attack with 1d8 and is going to attack 6. Number 6. So we're going to go +6. That is enough to hit, and then 8 plus 2 is 10. So 6 is now bloodied, or damaged at least. And then I think that's it, right? Oh, we're going to cast, actually, Hunter's Mark against number 6. So that's going to be an extra 1d6. So that's an extra 3, and that actually that kills it. And so we can move the Hunter's Mark to another one. We'll move it to 10. Okay, and Dustin is down, makes a death save, and that is a fail. That's 2 death saves. 11. Sorry, the bard. 11 is going to move 30 feet, 1, 2, 3 to there, and do Ray of Frost, I think, against, let's just see, is that an area of effect? I think it might be, but we'll just make sure. Ray of Frost, Frigid Beam, towards a creature within range, on a hit, 1d8. Okay, so Ray of Frost is going to be spellcasting is +5. So who is it going to be against? It's going to be against... Oh, 10 is gone. No, 6 is gone. But 10 is not. So it's going to be against 10. And that is enough to hit, but it's only... it's 1 point of damage against 10. So... Oh, I mean 1. Okay. Wow. Okay, so Cleric can move 35. One, two, three, and right to there. Is going to move Spiritual Weapon. How far can I move it? Up to 20 feet. 1, 2. That is actually not... Well, no, it is enough. I think it's enough to get to 10 on that corner. So we're going to go ahead and use Spiritual Weapon to attack 10. So it's a +4 and then a 1d8. So +4. That is enough to hit, and then it's 7 plus 2. So that's 10 total. Not enough to kill it. So we'll try and do the crossbow. +5 to hit. That is enough, and it is totally toast. So 10 is dead. Let's see. So we're going to move the Hunter's Mark. Oh, I guess I'll wait. I'll wait till his turn. So the Cleric is done. The Paladin is up. So I think the Paladin is going to leap over Dustin and protect Dustin from these guys. 3, 4, and 5. So those are the only ones left. Is going to attack 3. 2d6 plus 6. That's plenty to hit, and that's 9. So 3 is dead. 4 and 5 are the only ones left. And now troglodytes go. And so there are 2 troglodytes left, and they're going to attack Mike. So we've got 3. So number 4 is going to attack. And that is going to miss, hit. So that's 4. So that's 18. And then as an attack one more time. That is a success and 2 failures. So that's another 4. So that's 24. He's got 28 hit points, so that's just enough to stay alive. And now Lucas the Ranger is going to move 30 feet. 1, 2. Not enough to get any farther than that, but is going to use the longbow to hit 4. And it's a 1d8. So plus 6 to hit. That is enough to hit, but it's only 2 hit points against 4. 7. Oh, no, another 2. So 9. 9 total. And then Dustin is up. Oh, my God. So Dustin is down. We're going to make a Constitution saving throw. That is a success, so that's 1 success. Woo. Lucky. And then 11 is up. I think so. 11. I think 11 moves here, and then casts Thunderwave against those 2. So we're gonna do Thunderwave, and so they have to do Constitution saves. Their Constitution is pretty good. Where the hell did it go? What the hell? Where are they? There they are. Constitution. Oh my God! I rolled a +5. That was the Thessal Hydra. The troglodytes are only 2. Okay, whatever. Okay, so we're gonna roll 2 Constitution saves, and a +2. Both of those fail, so they do 2d8 damage. So that's 7. That kills 4, and 5 takes 7, so 4 is dead. 5 is the only one left, and it's flung 10 feet away. Will the Cleric is up next. Is going to move the spiritual weapon over right next to there. So we're going to do spiritual weapon. Sorry, I didn't flip. So spiritual weapon +4 to hit, and then a 1d8. Is a natural 1 that fails. So we're going to do crossbow +5 to hit. That is a 19 +5 is plenty, and a 6 +3 is 9. That is enough to kill 5. So that is all 10 troglodytes dead. Whoo! And somebody runs over and gives Dustin a healing potion and brings them back at least to 1 hit point. Now that we're out of turn order. Wow. Okay. Well, wow, that was hard. See, the way I had hoped this would go is that they would talk to the troglodytes and send them back to the other tribe, but they had to slaughter them. Wow, and that was close. So, I mean, really, technically, Dustin is probably dead, and they would have had to have carried his corpse back and got it resurrected. But I'm gonna go ahead and give him 1 hit point. So he's definitely seen better days. So in this so that's basically that's the last area. As they look, that corridor meets up with that secret door. So I think that they have essentially killed the Thessal Hydra. They've managed just barely to slaughter the troglodytes. They chop off the heads. They search through everything in here. This area with the offerings and stuff, it has like about 1,000 gold pieces worth of stuff that they can capture. They've grabbed the monstrous blood from the Thessal Hydra. And then they head back to Sir Tristan, and Sir Tristan, they are hailed as conquering heroes. Obviously, they've seen worse. They probably rest. Actually, they'll take a long rest here, and hope that the head doesn't show up. They'll set up a guard, so they'll take a long rest, heal up, and then head back to Tristan's. Tristan, hails them as conquering heroes, showers them with extra treasure, and grants them boons. Maybe we'll see what those are. The characters get to level up to level 4, and go on to further adventures. And that is actually the conclusion. I think that, maybe we see sort of a post-credit scene of the Thessal Hydra head in the crawling through the underbrush in the upside down, and that is the completion of the hunt for the Thessal Hydra. That last troglodyte battle was not great. That was harder than the Thessal Hydra, actually. I don't know. Yeah, so I mean, they're going to level up and they're going to camp out at that castle. I need to decide if I'm going to continue on. This is the end of that adventure, and basically at the end it says, the characters can level up. Then they're ready to seek more adventure and rewards in future games of Dungeons and Dragons. So, the idea is that this would be a starter box, and that these characters would then move on to additional stuff. Other modules. Now, for me, I kind of imagine that I would continue the Stranger Things theme, even though, inspired by Stranger Things. And I'm thinking of, if I continue this with, season 2 or, whatever, that I'll go into the, in 4th edition, there were 3 modules, H1, 2, and 3, which were linked and were themed around the Shadowfell, which, is the Upside Down, basically. And so I'm thinking about doing that. Comment and tell me you'd be interested in these continuing adventures. I need to decide what I'm going to do next as far as this. I might do another setting completely and then come back to this later, or I might continue it. I don't know. We'll see. Overall, I think that this was pretty interesting. The party is definitely overpowered. Like, if you had one person playing each of these characters, I think they would have had, there would have been a lot more decision points and things that they could have done. The Thessal Hydra was not hard. And the Demogorgon, I don't know. I mean, it's a starter box, so you know it makes you feel super and heroic. But that troglodyte battle and the skeletons in the cursed labyrinth were actually the hardest parts of this whole thing. Um, yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it's a good starter, and it's fun that it's the adventure that the kids played in Stranger Things. So I mean, it's totally cool. And then you get the Thessal Hydra and the Demogorgon, the figures and stuff. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. This was my first time playing D&D 5e solo, so I did find like having so many characters definitely was too much because I missed tons of their abilities and things that I could have done. So I think if I continue in doing solos, you know, if I continue these guys, I'll keep them going. But for my own future with D&D solo, I think I'm definitely going to go with the sidekick rules, where I'm going to have one main character and then a couple sidekicks um, t- um, to help without having full character sheets. Oh, excuse me. Yawning. It's time for lunch for me. So I'm going to go ahead and call it. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching this. I hope you, you know, like and subscribe and follow and try and catch me on Twitch and, you know, watch my other stuff on YouTube. If you go to Twitch and you watch my old videos or you catch me live, you can collect loyalty points, and then you can actually bestow boons or cast curses as I'm playing to make it harder or easier as you know, as we negotiate what that means. So consider hanging around and watching my past videos, and then messing with me as I play games in the future. So anyhow, thanks for hanging out, and that is the end of the Haunt of the Thessal Hydra. Thanks. Bye.